good crowd tonight. That's good. Good, very good. And thank the Lord for supplying. Well, they already tell me I didn't turn the air conditioning down far enough tonight, you know.
It's true.
You know, I could open the doors, just let the breeze blow through.
The old way.
The old way.
Yeah, that's the way we
This summer you'll appreciate 78 degrees. Yes, you will. So we're going to do a little different tonight instead of going through. I got a couple of things I want to go through. But we had a show down in Punta Gorda and a whole bunch of members entered. And we got a whole bunch of prizes. So this is my ribbon. It's got Marvin on the back. Oh, no, that wasn't mine. This was Marvin's. Was this? Wasn't my idea, okay? But anyhow, all right, so we're going to have the gentlemen or ladies come up and share their thing and tell us what they got for it. And Marvin, you're right here on the edge, so come on up.
All right, that's my Purdue platter. I had it here a couple months ago, I think, to show it, and put it in the show down there at Punta Gorda. And I guess they liked it.
What was your prize? What was your prize, Marvin?
My
Is
prize,
this my ribbon or yours?
in your dreams, Pat. That's what I got, Mike. So yeah, I got a first place in my.
There's a story behind this. The outside edge.
Okay, yeah. Well, you mean how I made it, or what's in there?
No, I know what's in there. That's how you made it.
So yeah,
You want me to tell the story for you?
I could actually. Could we plug pictures in? That's all right. So what I did is I had a 13-inch board, and I cut it square, and then I glued like 3 inches on the outside, and then I took it to the bandsaw and cut it round, and then I put it on the lathe, and I turned that out. Is that what you're talking about? You want me to?
Well, he had to build the board completely out to get this. And then he turned it all back away. But this is 13 inches across here.
Right. So
He had a 13-inch board.
So I saved all the 13 inches.
Yeah.
By gluing
I
up.
knew it was too difficult, but that's all.
And then, so the wood was the mold
Yeah.
for the epoxy.
Good job. Randy? You talk, I'll drop it, okay?
Thank you, Pat. Okay, that's my baby. This is a large vase that I made. It's made out of segmented turning. It's made out of rings. I think there's 39 rings up there, and they're all segmented pieces. The wood, the light wood's maple, the brown wood is walnut, and the black wood is wenge. And the inside of the vase looks just like the outside. It's turned to about 1/4 of an inch thick, all the way down on the sides.
How many pieces?
There's about 1,285 pieces in that. Okay, about, yeah, a couple, okay. I was the happiest guy in the world. We had taken it down on Friday, and Saturday morning I got a call about 9:30, and the lady says, "Hello, my name's Cherry, and I'm from the wood show." And my immediate thought was, they dropped my thing. And to my surprise, she says, "No, you won first place in your division. We're going to move you up to the big table." And so I ended up getting first in my division. Then by the end of the show, I got best of show in my group. For the base. But the story don't stop there. Hold that one up. And that does come off. I also entered this one, which is a different type of turning. This design is called staves, where they're vertical pieces of wood that are made into a circle, and then I put Fadook in between the staves, and then the top 5 rings are segmented, like the big vase was made. And then I put a top on it, and it's an internment urn, is what it actually is. And it's cherry and Fadook are the 2 different woods that I combined to make that. And that was a lot of fun to make. Thank you. Pardon? Yeah, I got a first place in that in its division. Okay. So those are my 2 pieces.
Very good. Are we ready?
Waiting on you.
This is a piece of rosewood that Pat gave me.
Oh my goodness, so this is mine?
I had a problem doing the gold leaf. I think a lot of you remember last year, I asked for help. I got a little bit, but not enough to do what I wanted. I made some phone calls, I went to some frame shops, and they got me in touch with a gentleman from Ukraine that does gold leaf. And I talked to him on the phone for about an hour. He had just got out of surgery on his shoulder, so he couldn't really have me bring the piece over where he could help me. But he told me what I should be doing and the problems I was having the first 2 times I tried to do it. And with his help, I think I succeeded in accomplishing what I wanted. It's very easy to put gold leaf on an outside piece, but it's very difficult to put it on an inside piece, on these curve on the inside, because the gold leaf doesn't stretch. And you've got to put it in the bottom first and then kind of roll it out. And that's what I was having a problem with. The first gold leaf I tried was flake, gold leaf flake. I figured, just powder it on and brush it off and it would be good. But it wasn't, the effect wasn't what I wanted. So I used regular gold leaf and did it with the sheets, and it turned out, I think, decent. And
You got a first place.
am I talking too much? I got a first place, and you kind of got to put yourself in the category where you feel like you belong. And this is advanced category. So that's where we're at. You want to take that?
You done? Talk all right. Thank you.
Most of you have seen, well, you haven't seen the Indian. This is the first time I entered the Masters Division at the show. And by the way, that show is the largest show in the state of Florida. It's larger than the state fair, and actually by quite a bit. But I entered 4 pieces. The relief carving, which is all 1 piece minus the 2 tusks, and I took first in the Masters Division with this one. With the alligators, I got a first place. The buffalo, which is actually one of my favorites, got a first place in that one too. And then I got a second place for the Indian. All said and done, I was happy.
He likes to do that. He comes in, he shows us beautiful stuff,
I was running late.
and then he was late.
So I did a run on these boxes. There's 5 other ones. I had another one in the show, and it was, I didn't bring it. It's just a lot of stuff to bring. But it was same size. It was done in straw marquetry. This one was inspired by Robert Frost's poem Fire and Ice. So that's the name of it. And anyhow, there's a lot of symbolism in it. and the design. The materials are Japanese lacquer on the top, and then cracked eggshell, or what the Japanese call rankeku, which is using the Japanese lacquer as an adhesive. But it's all eggshell, so the eggshell's done in the veneering technique, and so it simulates, there's different textures it brings in, and it can be applied concave or convex. It just depends on the reed that you want. And then it's Gaboon Amity, on the front there. So I just put this in, I think it was in the furniture division, and I got a first place on this, I got a second place on the straw box, and then I had a Wenge and eggshell serving tray, and that I got third place, but this was best to show. But it's, like I said, I did a run on these because I could do all the same size boxes, but with different surfaces, different decorative surfaces. And the substrate is on a 1/2" 9 ply, and the Asian lacquer, or the Japanese lacquer on top, it's applied over a gold leaf, so it gives it that fire, like charcoals and stuff. So that sort of got me into this idea about fire and knives, which led to Robert Frost, which, anyhow, so it started getting into the symbolism of the materials, so it ended up being a fun project.
Very good. Great show. We have a carving thing that's gonna happen here from some professional, somebody who does something, whatever. Why do you think I brought you up?
Oh, I'm duly impressed. Most of you know that, but we have a gentleman named Harold Kossenbach who comes from upstate New York and teaches bark carving. And he was down at the show in Punta, so you could see some of his finished work and whatever, and he was selling wood. But he's a heck of a good teacher, and we're going to have a 2-day class, March 15th to 16th, Saturday and Sunday. Here, we're going to have, I really don't think we can have more than 8 people in that room. We've got...
You can use, whichever room you want to use, I don't.
Okay, well, I didn't know that, but...
Now?
You can fit more than 8 people in this room, it's okay.
No, I guarantee you by the end of the 2 days you will have a finished piece. I meant to bring a bark carving piece so I could show you, but I don't know if most of you people know, but birch trees in Missouri have bark that's like paper. Well, this bark is 6 to 8 inches thick. From upstate New York, and we know over here because he's got a couple of pieces. But it's excellent to carve. If you have tools, fine. If you don't have tools, you can use some of mine, some of Richard Valente's, and Harold might even have some. So it is $40 a day, 2-day class, $80, and then buy whatever bark you want to have from me. You will finish the day Saturday with a finished piece. I give you my word.
Sunday.
Pardon me?
Sunday. You'll finish.
Sunday, I'm still, I had a little hospitalization here,
Don't blame it on that.
and so to say that my head is scrambled is
A
actually
piece of
like,
bark costs about 15 or $20. So 100
yeah,
pieces.
about 15 to 20 depending on the size of the bark, what it is. But it's a lot of fun for anybody that wants to carve. You do not have to be an expert carver. In fact, this is one of the best pieces, or one of the best type of classes to take when you're a beginner, because it's far superior to getting into some of the tougher stuff that you've seen behind us. If anybody has any desire to do this and learn more about it, I have a sign-up sheet. I will get you all the information, and please come. We're going to have fun.
Now, that show down there in Punta Gorda, we met this couple down there, and I was just super impressed with him. She says his name is Old Man. Well, no, wait, that's only when she's irritated, I guess, something like that. Her name is Karen, and your name was? Wow, I knew I could forget it. I knew it. So they're going to show us a little bit of burning, and there's a lot of controversy about this burning. I know. I've heard it all before, and he's heard it all before. Yes, there has been people that have died from it. There has been people that got in a car accident and died, okay? So, yes, there is a safe way and a not so safe way to do it. I've got a way of doing it in here. I've done it a couple of times too, and it, you know. Do we have a bouncer? So, I'm just touching base on with it. Yes, there is controversy about it and whatever. We're not pushing anything. This couple's table was down there, was just absolutely, had some awesome pieces on it. So I thought there might be some people that just might enjoy it and take a look at it. They did an absolute great job down there. So Bob, she's going to supervise you, correct?
That's the way to go, yes.
Don't make a
Good evening, everybody. I'll try not to electrocute myself. I'll give you a little background as to the transformer that I use. When I first seen this, I started researching it, and it stressed how dangerous it was. So I found out that most people were using a transformer out of a microwave oven or a neon sign. Well, apparently the amps in both of those are fatal. So I thought, well, I'd like to live another 80 years, so I did a little more research and found this particular transformer. It's out of an oil-burning furnace like you'd have if you lived up north. So it generates the 10,000 volts of power I need, but the amps are almost nil. So you still will get a shock, but the next day you're able to talk about it versus the other type. So needless to say, I chose this particular one, and it comes with 2 leads. It plugs into just regular house current. I took jumper cables and cut them in half, and one half goes on there, and the other half is over here. I have a spring-loaded kill switch, so when I've got it depressed, it's burning as soon as I let go. So if I accidentally touch it, which I have in the past, it gives me a shock. Well, then right away, as soon as I let go, it cuts it. And this is just it's got a little light on it. It lets me know that there's current running through it. And I don't know if you can see everything okay from above there. So I also have, when you're doing this process, the wood's got to be raw or no finish on it whatsoever. And then I have water and baking soda solution. I dampen it. And sometimes it soaks in right away, sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes you have to wet it more than others and stuff to get the desired results. I'm usually using a quart jar, and I put like a heaping tablespoon on there. And through experimentation, I found out that if you use a little bit more or less, it doesn't seem to make a difference whatsoever. I've heard other people say you can use sugar or whatever, but I figure we've got enough bugs around the house. I don't need to encourage any more. And then it's basically, I put one lead in a given spot, the other lead in another spot. And if it's a bowl or something like that, I predetermine when I'm looking at what I think I'd like to accomplish with it. And here's my cord. So this is my power source.
Nope, the other way. You got the other way.
Actually, you want to reduce the light above.
Yeah,
There you go.
much better.
Okay, so we'll give it a try. So I'll push and we'll see if it starts. Now my light is on, so I know I'm getting power through there and so on without touching it, obviously. Sometimes it takes a minute because it's actually where that electrode is there, it's starting now. It takes a minute for it to actually evaporate some of the other leads. Now electricity tends to want to go the shortest route, and over the years of doing this, I've learned how to manipulate it to kind of do what I like it to do with different amounts of success and unsuccess. Can you see it okay from up there? As it's burning, it's drying that particular vein out. So sometimes one vein will stop and then another one will go off in another direction. And that's pretty typical also.
What is actually burning?
The wood itself,
The wood itself.
it is burning.
Can you use salt and water too?
Salt?
Salt?
I don't know, I haven't never tried it with salt, but I would suppose it would work also. If you leave this on long enough, they will merge. Okay, I've got it shut off right now. I'm gonna,
How far you like to have your probes?
it depends on what you're doing, the size of the object and so on like that. And it's not unusual for me to go ahead and dampen a little bit more. I'd move this lead closer because I wanted to show you the two as they merge. This one is taken up. It definitely creates its own pattern as it burns through the wood.
Is it following some sort of grain or something?
Not necessarily. I have found, you know, like a cutting board that is several different kinds of wood glued together and so on. Sometimes if the electricity hits one of those where it's been glued together, it wants to follow the glue line, which is not what I wanted to do because that's a straight line. I want a random pattern, and so you can have two identical pieces, the same wood, same everything, and they still will burn different. I know each time I do this I'm going to get some kind of a pattern, but I'm not always sure with the exact thing.
And how deep does it burn?
It depends on the wood. Softer woods tend to burn deeper than harder woods. These two, you can see them getting closer and eventually they will touch.
If you leave them after they've merged together.
It looks like the wire inside your toaster, and if you leave it long enough, it eventually would burn completely through the wood. Yeah, I've had a couple bowls where they were maybe a little over a 1/4 inch thick, and I wasn't paying attention to where it was going, and all of a sudden I had a hole in it. And
Well, you didn't move the probes and they just changed directions.
yes, that's exactly right. You can see it stopped over there, and that's because it got dry. So it's going to wherever the moisture is, which is the conduit for it to keep burning.
Now you turn the electricity off before you re-wet the wood, or do you re-wet the wood?
I re-wet it when it's on a lot of times.
That sounds safe.
Like I said, I've accidentally gotten poked a few times. It makes me focus on what I'm doing and not doing. And you can see they merge there, and see how it's a one continuous glow. And it'll keep doing that. So now the power is off and I can move the electrodes. Now, if I wanted to complete more of a pattern on this, I just place the electrodes wherever I want on a given piece. Later, if you look at that guitar, you can see it's a combination of where I've placed several times the leads. I've got some other wood, another piece of wood here. And let's try this and maybe give you a little bit of an idea. So there again, we're using the baking soda in water solution.
One of the woods that takes the longest is the oak. Being how it doesn't really penetrate. It really doesn't like bamboo, because bamboo will go like this instead of expanding. So we did a base, which only did little pieces, because we couldn't get it to go through, like that.
So I had a piece of olive wood, which is very pretty in itself, and I thought, well, I'm gonna make this nice random pattern in it, so I put and it was only a small piece, so I put a lead there and there, and turned on the power, and all it did is sit there and bubble, and I thought, well, what the devil's going on? It's never bubbled before. Well, I found out that particular piece of olive wood was still moist with olive oil in it, and so that's why it didn't burn. Now, I've had other pieces burn. Bamboo's a pain because bamboo has such a definite up and down grain. Okay, it's got a mind of its own here. These are old sanding sponges, and a lot of times they come in handy just to hold a lead in place. Okay, it may take a second for it to start. I've got it power on now.
Can you do that with like a car battery using 12-volt DC?
You know, I've had several people ask me that, and I really don't know. I have no idea. I just, you know, knew this would be a safe way to do it, and I didn't want to deviate from the...
Does this at home, he's away from the, like,
So I have to tell you, the first time I was exposed to this, I came in the house from outside, and on TV, they had this piece of wood with this pattern into it, and I said, that's kind of cool, but I'd missed the story that explained what they were doing, so I did the research, and of course that's when it said how dangerous it was, and I thought, well, I'm stupid, I'd like to try that, you know. So anyways, so my wife and my 3 daughters, they were getting kind of mad at me because I kept insisting, I'd really like to try that. So I thought, okay, I better do some more research. Well, that's when I discovered that particular transformer, and I've been using it, what, probably 5 or 6 years now, and
Same transformer?
yes.
we don't tell the hard copy. Not 'cause they-
Do they sell them like at Woodcraft?
The transformer?
Yeah.
Actually, I ordered it through Walmart.
So,
It's from an oil burning furnace, and it's a continuous spark. I'm sure it's got a number on it someplace, but I don't know where it's at. But anyways, the first time I'm gonna try it was a Sunday morning. She's got her pajamas on. She comes out in the garage with her phone to dial 911. And I'm standing there, I am soaking wet, I'm dripping sweat. I was so nervous. I thought, well, you know, something goes wrong here. Could be bad news, and obviously nothing went wrong. And this is, you know, I'm not sure. I think this might be a piece of basswood, but I'm not sure. You can see it's following this edge along there, because that's where the moisture is right now. Sometimes I can encourage it to go to another arm. It's like anything else, the more you do it, the more little, I don't know, tricks or whatever you want to call it, you become more confident in what you're trying to achieve.
Well, you've got 2 different burn points there. The one is doing the random arc. But
Yes.
the other one just seems to be isolated all in that corner.
It's staying here because it was following right along this line here, where the moisture was. That's why I took this and tried to dampen it.
That's why I was wondering, how do you modify it to
Yes.
get it to move? You wouldn't recommend using a metal paintbrush?
No.
Thought I'd ask.
Okay. Here it is. This is a piece of basswood. A good friend of mine, he's passed away now, but he had made that, and he says, Bob burned the border on it, and I never got it done. So let's say you want to concentrate all the burn at this end, well, obviously leave that end dry.
Can you
But-
pass around one of those that you've already done?
Yes. Okay, let's see what happens here. Now, sometimes, if it hasn't soaked in completely, you see how it's kind of jumping around? Whoops. Now, in those cases there, it was following where it was drier.
Do you do this outside or do you do it in the basement?
No, I usually do it in the garage, right in the opening by the doorway, and I usually have just a real small fan that's hardly moving to blow any smoke away, because I'm sitting on a bench. You can see where it dries premature, so to speak. Now this side is doing the other one. Let's move this over here and see what happens. So none of these pieces are, in my opinion, giving me any kind of a nice looking pattern. We do picture frames, almost anything made out of wood, even masonite will create a pattern and so on because it's composed mostly of sawdust. It's just that masonite is not a very colorful piece of whatever.
Now, do you take that, you burnt, but then to finish it, to get rid of the excess char, you sand it?
I was just going into that. Right now, I have a plastic bristle brush, and at home I've got a utility sink. And so first of all, I'd go over there with the water running into the thing, and that takes probably 90% of the ashes out of the thing. And then I dry it with a small heat gun, and then I have a small wire brush here, and I go back inside there. And usually in the light, when it's dry, you can say, oh yeah, I see kind of a different look. I know there's still ashes in there. So you go in there more, and it'd be surprising how much more ash comes out. And it gives you more definition of the burn and so on like that. So that's how that would go. Then after that, a lot of times, especially a light colored wood like this, and with this water mixture, when this dries and so on, it may leave a discolored on the wood. So I have a wood acid bleach that I paint on there, and it'll restore it back. I'll let it on there for like 20 minutes or so, and maybe stick it out in the sun, and then rinse it in the tub of water again, get it all dry, and then we start our layers of clear polyurethane, the oil base is what we use. After I get we usually put 5 layers on every piece. The last layer I usually spray on. The first 4 we put on with a brush, and then my wife, on some of them, she'll take a small brush and she'll paint the veins in a couple of pieces. I didn't think to bring one of those today, just to show you the difference. It just gives it another appearance and so on. And then we brought these couple pieces there. You're welcome to look at, and it gives you a little idea. I've done literally thousands and thousands of pieces, all different shapes and sizes, and sometimes frustrated and sometimes not. It doesn't do what I want it to do, you know. And, but basically,
Any difference how thick the piece of wood is?
no, it does not, no. If it's a real soft wood, almost like a balsa wood, Thickness would be desirable because it tends to want to burn deeper in the softer wood. So if it was thin, it would probably burn a hole right through it. This is a piece of cedar, and at the time what I was trying to do is follow the burn to follow the shape of the cedar, which I was able to accomplish, but it took me literally hours and hours to do it because I was trying to manipulate the electricity, and like I said, it kind of has a mind of its own. And then afterwards, we did all the other steps I showed you, and this will give you an idea of some of the depth of the burn and so on, and that's the natural color right there of the burn. And then this is a small, like, cutting board, or if you got kids that are bad, you can use it as a paddle. This looks like something my mother would use on me and my brothers. But this, in this particular case here, I put an electrode there and the other one there, and it started going, but I was trying to manipulate it to follow the curve in both pieces, and you can see it over a period of time, it finally did do what I wanted to do. Sometimes I have to coax it. I can burn part way and then move the electrode a little bit this way and that way to get an idea. And this is this I cut out. I've got a pattern, so I cut it out, and then I'd use I've got a barrel sander that I can use on my curves and so on to get a nice shape and so on. So in this case, there was no finish, like I said, and then I started to burn. I maybe started one electrode there, one up there, and as it's burning, I get satisfied with the pattern, then I stop, move the electrode maybe to this one, and then maybe back to that one a little bit, so you can do that. Or then after that, electrode here and one there to give me that kind of a pattern. And as you can see, I was trying to follow the shape of the guitar, and then we put our clear polyurethane on it, and then after that, this is the epoxy that you pour on, and it gives it you get a lot of depth. You can't feel any depth there because it fills it all in, but that's pretty much how it works. It's you know, like I said, I've gotten shocked several times. I've got a watchman in my, and I'm AFib all the time. And my heart doctor, he doesn't know what I'm doing. I haven't advertised it neither, but so far I'm good. And it's like any electrical shock. I'm sure everybody at some time in their life has got an electrical shock of some sort, so it's no different than that, but it's reassuring to know that at least you're going to be around to talk about it the following day. And the spring-loaded kill switch I like versus a toggle because it's so instant, you know, like, whoop, if I happen to do it, just let go and that stops it. So one of our biggest concerns when we first started this, she says, what the hell's our electricity bill going to be? And I said, oh, you'll be all right, don't worry about it. There has been no difference whatsoever. And I don't know why that is, I have no idea. I've had a couple of people at the shows, they say, are you an electrician? I say, hell no, I'm just dumb. I don't know any better. And so anyways, but this is what we do now for arts and craft shows. I had a business in Sarasota, a fiberglass business for 20-some years. And after I retired, I was driving her nuts, so I said, I got to find something to do. Well, I stumbled on this. And so,
Is there a group of people that do this?
you know, we've done a lot of shows, and I think we've only come across a couple of people. Once in a while, you get somebody come up and say, oh yeah, I know so-and-so that does that too, but it doesn't look like what you do, you know. And most people, I've seen one time on TV, I don't know what they were using, maybe an arc welder, but it raced across a 4x8 sheet of plywood in like 2 seconds. And I thought, no, that's a little bit fast for me. No.
Do you use full voltage going into your transformer, or do you have variable
No, no, I do not have a variable. It's either on or off. Yeah, it's 110, yes. I just put it in this wooden box and then I use rubber cement to hold my leads in place so they wouldn't come loose, and then fasten them down just for my own safety. These are just a piece of copper ground wire bent in that configuration just to fit in the jaws. And like I said, I use the sponges sometimes. Let's say I'm doing a bowl and it's about that deep. Sometimes I have to stack up 3 or 4 sponges, so to speak, so I put the lead where I want it. But, so your old sanding sponges come in handy, you know. Yes, sir.
You put your water down with something finer, a syringe or a smaller brush or something, will it follow that?
Yeah, as long as it's wet, it'll follow anything. I use a bigger brush. Sometimes the wood tends to want to repel the water at first, and so a lot of times I'll have to wait a minute and let it soak in. And then on other occasions, I've had wood that wants to repel it, where I'll take maybe my wire brush and just kind of, after it's wet, rub it on there to get it started, and then once it starts soaking into the grain, then you can put your leads on there and it'll take off and start burning.
I mean, you put a finer...
A finer bead of water?
Yeah.
Yes, you could, yes. I've seen them even use it like an old Windex spray bottle or something like that if you wanted. Or you could use a small paintbrush like this. You know, like, a couple of times when I've done a pattern and I wanted to go further this way, I'll take and maybe use a small brush and just wet it there to try to coax it to go that direction. But I found the wood bleach is very handy because on some woods, like I said, this mixture and with the ash, it makes the wood kind of a gray color. And obviously that's not desirable from the original thing. So you put this on and then you wet it good with that. And if you have to, you can use it several times. It comes in a powder. I buy it from Ace Hardware. Oxalic acid, I think it's called, or something.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. Yes. So any other questions, anybody? I think I told you my hair used to be really long, like a hippie, and this is all that's left of it now, so.
Met them down at Punta Gorda short, and it was absolutely awesome. Had to have them. Because they're such great people, number one.
Thank you.
Do good job.
I don't think Galvin would want to do it because he's shy.
No, he isn't.
But I had asked him a while ago if he would mind making a plaque that's called the Tree of Life. I had made one previous, I didn't make it, but Mr. Smith did for me. But I finished it off and gave that to my oldest daughter for an anniversary present. So she liked that. Then she says, well, 2 of my children are getting married and they want something like that. So here we go. So I made one for the Birchcocks and one for the Esslingers. These are both of one's a daughter, one's a grandson, and one's a granddaughter. So they'll be happy to get this. Also, I have, while cleaning up my shop, I've got a plan for a table with a leaf that's built into the table. And I hate to throw it away, but it's Ralph Bagnall. This is his plan. He gave that to me a couple of years ago. In fact, he'll be here in April to do his presentation. He's out of Orlando. So if anybody wants it, they can have it, please. And I've also got a piece of driftwood I'd like to get rid of.
Trying to beat me with it.
Yeah, I hate to just throw the thing away. But I got this up in American Beach, up in Washington State. It's a piece of driftwood. It's really nice, and I hate to throw it away. If somebody could use it, maybe, incorporate it into a piece of work that they're making, a handle or something, so if you, excuse me?
Peace pipe.
You make a peace pipe, you can, I don't know, I gave it, the one gentleman took a piece of wood that I had that was like a shillelagh, and he was going to carve that out. I think that's great, I could use it. So, if anybody would like this, see me over there. Thank you.
John Falcone.
Joe does a lot of great work for this place. He sets most of the stuff up. Tom, now,
It's a rosewood bowl that Pat and I and Bobbin, Pat's grandkids, went and loaded from in front of the church.
oh, one of those, huh?
This is one of them that I turned.
When the weights wouldn't work.
When the what?
The weights would not work.
Yeah, we had the kids.
We had kids.
They were strong. They ran up the ramp. But again, would say how it's butcher block is what the finish is on.
What did you get? Garfield.
Todd?
I'm gonna have to take that back over next month. You're not doing a very good job.
Don't wait.
Who are we looking for? He's coming? Oh, there he comes. Toothpaste man.
These are,
Mother,
I'll show these. You do this.
Just make sure you don't lose that.
Break it. Why, I would drop something. I mean, come on. Still got dust.
These are just, one of these had to put that dust in. One of these, he was pulling the tube out before the meeting, and it spewed a bunch of, it almost looked like smoke coming out of it. These are just pieces of a branch of a tree that I make them into very nice vases that the ladies like, the guys like. You can use it either way. You can pull the tube out, use it for dry flowers, or leave the tube in and use it wet. These are Mother Nature is the one that's doing the design work here. All I'm doing is using chisels to open it up and show it. And if you look at them closely, all the beautiful patterns you get from Mother Nature doing things with wood. Now, I'm gonna pick on you, because you're up here.
Why?
What wood is that?
Tree wood.
Spalted maple. Well, I didn't say I was right, I just,
It is somewhat spalted, and I agree with you.
all right. It's maple.
It's not maple. This is, I'm from North Carolina now, and this is an unusual North Carolina tree that we have around. It's called sourwood. If you come up and look at it, it's actually pinkish, and it's harder than hard. It was used for hammer handles, hammerheads, mallet heads, that type of thing. Now the one that Pat's got his hand on
Is
there
this from
is
North
even
Carolina
heavier.
too?
Huh?
Is this from North Carolina too? See, I'm not from there, so I don't know these.
Where are you from?
That question has been asked quite a bit.
Everybody should know what that one is.
Mike, what do you think? Cypress, okay.
No,
Bogwood.
it's more of a northern tree, I will give you that. That's a piece of black locust, and if you notice, it's, Pat picked it up here, so that one's heavy, this one's heavier.
It's really heavy.
It's really heavy. And this is just a piece of beech, actually, so it's reasonably light compared to the rest. But when you put it on a lathe and you start roughing and turning it down, when it's a raw piece of wood, we can all turn it down and make it into, oh, it's an all uniform thing. Or you can start seeing it and it starts popping out and saying, oh,
I'm a neat pattern, keep me. So it's fun to work that way. So I make a lot of them. It's an awesome way to put it. Very good. I bought a new scroll saw a while back, and so one of the first things I wanted to try it out on was to see what it would do on something like this. This is where you do a two-side cut, you know, three-sided thing. Came out really nice, I like it, so. And then I wanted to really find out what it was like to work some tough stuff on that scroll saw. And as you know, each one of these little holes, you have to drill a hole. And then when you get ready to cut it out, you have to put the saw blade through and cut it out, take it out. And so this is a lot of fret work on this little bowl.
Hold it to the camera, Charlie, so you can see the detail.
Okay.
What scroll saw did you get, John?
I got a jet.
The
And
tilting arm.
with the tilting blade on it. Because I plan to be doing more bowls and stuff, so I went ahead and bought that. And so it works very nice so far. It's just something getting used to, and it's new, and you know, it has its own peculiarities. So, but we're getting there. So, but this is what I wanted to do to, you know, give it a really test. So that's it.
So, here, you tell them, I'll show them. You tell them and I'll go. So I like nature as well. This is a kind of an interesting tree. This is a West Indian mahogany, which is also a Florida mahogany. This is a tree that's in my front yard. So anytime any limbs are down, hurricanes, whatever, or it needs trimmed, I take the wood, dry it, and I have a mill. I start cutting it, and like you said, nature reveals itself. And so this is a charcuterie board that I built, and of course my wife said, "Well, that one's mine." So there it is. But they produce pods every year, and these explode in the heat, and the seeds come out of this, and that plants new trees. We actually harvest these every year, and there's a gentleman that's in charge of Manatee County Wetlands Re-nourishment, and we ship these to him, and he's planting these in Manatee County. They used to be prevalent in the state of Florida, and they're telling me that the Spaniards came over, they made furniture out of them. Most of them were cut down. It's actually an endangered tree now. So it's just pretty cool. It's a nice piece of wood. It's an easy project, but I do a lot with them, make boxes, things like that. So.
What'd you finish it with, Daryl?
This has 3 layers of mineral oil and then finished with beeswax. So it's edible. And these are solid brass orchid handles.
Good job.
That's the door prize. Let's do the raffle first. Didn't I just say? This is my first day. All right, for the raffle prize, which is a corner clamping system, only if you're using 90 degrees, not 91. Okay.
The new guy can pick.
The new guy can pick, and we'll see what the number is. Look at your red ticket.
Okay, the last 3 digits. 956.
956. Wahoo, wahoo. Look at you. There you go. All right, you got that. The directions are right there, and they are in English. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to do door prizes. Looks like we've got 3 things here for the door prize. We've got the list. All right, here we go. First one, number 16. Number 16. George. Hey, George. One of those 3, George. I don't know where the remote control came from. It might operate pat, who knows. All right, next number is 19. Bob. Ah, there you go. There's
good. And you got, the blue bottle and the towel. And here we go. And we got 7. Jeff Smith. Yeah. Oh, he don't have his glasses, he can't see. Somebody throw him the towel. I'm gonna throw you the towel. What do you want?
Thank you, where is it?
You don't want it?
What?
The towel?
Yeah.
You want me to throw, you wanna throw in the towel?
No, he can't get off his duffy.
Oh, no, we can't, there's 3 He can't see to get across the concrete road.
You throw it in, I throw it in. Billy throw it out.
Oh, my God. All right, time for this one. 50-50.
50/50 is $157 today.
All right, here we go. These have your name and phone number on the back.
Oh, let the guest pick. You're gonna make somebody really happy.
I'll tell you my number.
Yeah, they could. We got a back door. Bill Wayne.
All right,
All right, so now
Who
you
won?
pick one of these cards. There's the Ace of Clubs wins the whole prize, 5 of Clubs wins $5, 10 of Clubs wins $10. Everything else, we win.
Uh-oh, and he's got
7 of Clubs. Thank you.